Hi, everybody. My name is Brenda Hudson. I'm the director of the Recruitment Concierge Service for the Indiana CTSI. It's just a nice fancy title to say that if you are recruiting participants in the research, I'm the one to kind of help you. So been with the CTSI since the beginning. If you're not familiar with the Indiana CTSI, it is one of about 60 institutes that NIH funds to support research to help it get basically what they call from bench to bedside a lot quicker. And so we offer services to help researchers and their teams kind of help meet their goals for whatever that might be. It might be basic science. It may be, getting research out into the community, all those types of things. So that's what the Indiana CTSI is there for. Indiana CTSI supports REDCap. So Vanderbilt, who has designed it wonderfully, has shared that with multiple institutions. We are one of them, and we've been kind of using it since the beginning. I don't know how long we were. Stephanie was talking about, I probably would have been like, yeah, let's get on board and do this. And it really has changed a lot. And I'm going to talk about reports. Dashboards are new, notifications are new. So I'm going to tell you some stuff that I've kind of found out about and use it. Through recruitment, REDCap is like the perfect thing. We were looking for something where we could send surveys out that could be secure. REDCap was the thing to do. So once you start using it, then you're like, okay, great. Now I need to report on this. How am I going to do that? And that's what I want to talk with you about a little today. Questions, if you have questions as I'm talking, feel free to ask. I'm not going to present my slides are really there to kind of as prompts, but really I'm going to do demonstration. I hope you guys you like that. I'm a kind of see and do kind of person. And so I think that people tend to, if you're here for REDCap, you want to know how to do REDCap better. Me presenting slides, I don't think helps you do that. So anyway, any questions before I get started? Mainly I'm going to focus on reports. I'm going to talk a little bit about dashboards and a little bit about notifications just to kind of get you guys excited about it. There's actually presentations or videos from both IU and other institutions on how to do this. You can find them like short or long. I tend to not be able to sit still. It's gotten worse since COVID. I don't know if you guys are the same way. So I now watch YouTube sometimes on 2 times the speed because I'm like, come on, let's get to the next thing. So sometimes you can do that on these REDCap videos too, and then you could slow it down if you need to get it slowed down. But if I talk too fast, let me know. I'm going to try not to talk too fast today. All right. So basically, this presentation is on reports, dashboards, and notifications. And as somebody who has a recruitment team and has built several recruitment databases, the reports feature is really helpful, not only for me to kind of see where people are at or my team is at, but also for my team to see where they're at. So I can't show you because of HIPAA, my recruitment databases. I am going to show you some other databases that we use administratively that doesn't really have information that's, protected, and you guys will be okay seeing it. I don't know if my team knows, but I'm using the time and task. So I have 2 of my team members back there. There's nothing in it that's going to make them feel bad. It's just so I can show how to create things, and they might like what we create out of it today. Okay, so reports. I'm just going to teach you, which might be a little basic for some of you, how to create new reports. And then we're going to talk about how to customize your reports for things that you need, and then, how to filter. So that's might be real simple for some folks. I hope it's not too simple. And as we kind of navigate to my REDCap, I had to, you guys will probably find this funny. This is how you can tell I've been in REDCap for a long time. These are like all my projects. They're all kind of hidden. So I had to create this examples for presentation so that I can find these easier. All right, so create reports. I created this stupid little REDCap about if anybody's here as readers, and I'm gonna make this bigger so the rest of it doesn't show. I created this stupid database for a group of friends of mine that we were reading, and I was like, let's kind of like see what kind of books we want to read. It's for classics, pick a classic. The rule was it had to be under 500 pages. It had to like What was some of the other things? There were certain rules of other things that couldn't be in there. So created this, I'll show you this database. And it's just like, we use a matrix to kind of create like what kind of a list of books, and then put in there so that people could pick what they wanted to be in it. And then they could pick, we got to go at the bottom. There's like 80 books in there. And then like the first, second, and third choice. Okay, so matrix makes things a little more complicated, but not too much. It's just, you know, there's a lot of things you got to kind of know for that. And then I added this question, like, what type of reader are you? I don't read, I'm a casual reader, regular reader, or avid reader. And so that's what we're going to use to kind of create our report. So, and I kind of created a couple, but we're going to do this together. So, okay, just so you guys know, and Andy's in here, so I want to tell him. It used to be reports were at the top, and now they're like hidden down here. And so I immediately go now where project dashboards is and hits it first. So in case you're wondering why I did that, that was an accident. So Andy, if you can fix that for me, put those back up on top. All right, so we're creating a report. Basically, this is your dashboard to create reports. If you already have reports in there, it's going to list them down here. But we're just going to go here to create new report. And when you come in here, it's going to give you this nice little, you know, this is so much better than when it started. So great. But like you can kind of put a description here. So we're in our classic. So we're going to call a report like, we're going to say book top choices, right? That's going to be the name of our book. And then a description, just like what you want people to know about this. And it's like the books everyone picked in their top 3 from choices, right? And then you can do like, this is like, I'm not going to go into this too much because hopefully people are familiar. This is like all the stuff that you can do to make this look nicer for this report, right? We can bold this, only bolding that part. I can underline things. I could create a table in here. This is all great. And I advise you guys to play around with this, especially if you're creating a report and you're going to export the report in a PDF and send to people. It's nice to put this description here and then it'll show up in that report that you sent. So if you're kind of creating this for your supervisor or for your leadership or whatever, you can put that here and then it's already there. You don't have to export it and then put it into another report. You can do that too, but like you might be able to do it all through here. If you're not familiar, they have this user access. This is great too. Why would you want to do this? Because you're like, why? All right, so view access, you know, all users can view, but you may want a report. Maybe you have something sensitive that you're looking at and you want only you to be able to see what you're looking at or that you've created. That's when you would click on the custom users. Now, I'm the only person that has access to this database, and I'll show you in another one, other folks. But like you could have multiple people here, and then you can select more than one, just so you know if there's multiple people here. But like you're just going to highlight them. But you know, those are things you want to think about. The one that I would stress that you should think about, and sometimes I forget, is this edit access. And why that's important is sometimes you might not care that people see your report, but I don't know how many people here has created a report and then somebody's gone in and edited your report. And that's really frustrating, just so you know, and you're like, what? Who keeps touching it? Don't touch my report. If you like my report, copy it and do whatever. But this way, if you have a report, you could kind of have people be able to see it, but they won't be able to edit it. And that might be important to you. Okay. Quick access, like this is, I feel like this is the easiest way to create your report. You basically click them, you know, what you want in there. Because we said we just wanted to see what the favorites are. We're going to click these. And then I forgot to click my new type of reader, so I'm going to put it in there, right? All right, so those are our 4 questions. Now, the order that you click them in is the order they show up in your report, just so you know. However, I really wanted this to be first. So I just drag and drop it, right? Not hard at all. If I had multiple instruments in here, and again, I know I keep saying this, I'll show you in another one. You can like just put a whole instrument in, you just click the one that you want it from. So you don't have to have like, if you hit quick add, it'll actually show all of them, all the reports, and you can just go down. Or you can just pick an instrument over here and do that. So that makes it easy. I like to include the study identifier field and survey timestamp field. Now, a lot of times there's not a survey identifier in there. Sometimes what stuff I'm doing, but I want the timestamp. I want to know when somebody completed that survey. If you don't already have that set up in your database to do that, to timestamp it, this is a nice way to kind of see when did somebody complete that. And you'll kind of want to know that. And then this is kind of nice, and I'll show you, I keep saying this, I'll show you this in another report, but like combine the checkbox options into a single column. And so this is like, if you have a perfect example of what I do this for is like, I might have race and I allow people to choose more than one race. I don't have them kind of only pick one. And so, but I don't want to have a column for each race that somebody checks. I want it all in one column. Then that's what you pick so that it all combines all those together. So basically, if you put a checkbox where people can check more than one response and you want those in one column, this is a way to do it. The reason why you would have them one way or the other is because if you want them separate so you can filter by it, that's a nice way to kind of do that. All right, so, and then we have our filter button. Oh, let's see. See, the report header display the field label, variable or both. You know, we're going to put both. I usually don't mess with these, but you can kind of change those if you want. My favorite things are the filters. These are really great with dates. If you want to look at like, okay, I think I need to owe the time and task one next, because that's the one that if you want to say, I only want to see what's happened in the past year in this is a good thing to put, because you can put, and I always do it wrong the first time, greater than or equal to this particular date. And then you can kind of filter based on your date. And that's really helpful. For this filter, you know, let's say we want to go on our type of reader and then it says equal. And we're going to say, we want to know who's our avid readers in here. Now I only have like 7 responses in here, so it's not like that big of a deal. And then you can do more than one in here, and you can just like anything else, your and or your or, right? Your and is combine, like I want avid readers plus people that pick this, versus like, or like this or this, right? I want my avid readers, or I want my, we're going to do the same thing. Type of reader equals, we're also going to look at our regular readers, right? And then I'm just going to put this in here because this will make sense. Oh no, yeah. All right, and so it automatically defaults to sorting by record ID, but you can pick any of the things to have it sort by. You might want like your record ID, maybe you're using MRN because you're doing a database, or you have a study ID. You can sort by that. If you have a date in your database, so you can't use the one that's above, but if you have a date in your database and you want to sort by that, you can sort by that. So you can use this to order your results, and you can do ascending or descending. This is also good for name, like maybe you want to find people by name, and I'll explain why that would be good. All right, so we're going to view our report. All right, so here's my report. Here's my record ID. This is where we're going to show you like how to kind of do this. Here's my timestamp. As you see, I don't have a survey identifier, so that's not in there, but I have my timestamp, so I know when everybody entered these. And then here's the answers, right? So I have 2 avid readers, 2 regular readers, and here's the books that they picked. There's their first 3 choices, so we can kind of, you know, decide what we wanted. Now, my report, I have, I put in this nice little thing, the slide filter. This is nice too, because you can only use it for like drop down or where people select things, but I can pick. So I was like, well, I just want to see what my avid readers are. Like, okay, now I can see who my avid readers are. And the reason why you want to do that is like before, what you used to have to do is you'd create a report for each one. Here's a report for my avid readers. Here's a report for my casual readers, right? And so then they'd all be listed down here in your reports. Well, now I can just kind of filter, like I just want one report on what everybody wants to read, right? And then I can filter. So this whole report now, if I wanted to edit it, and I wanted to take out my, let's see, these, let's take these out, right? Save report, new report. Okay, so now I have everybody listed, but then I can pick what kind of reader I want. All right, nobody has any blanks, but you can check if there's people with blanks. Who's my don't reads, you know, that kind of thing. And just hit reset and they're all back there. So that's kind of nice if there's certain things that you're trying to kind of look at quickly and kind of examine. You can export this report and it shows up just like this, right? So you can do the raw data. So when you do the raw data, it'll have the code that you have in your field. But if you do the labels, it'll give you the question. Just depends on what you want. I usually do the labels because I don't want to have to remember what the question is when I look at the labels. And this is also to go to making sure when you label things, you think about your labeling system. When I get into other people's REDCaps and they label something and it'll just say name, I'm like, okay, what like name or date? Like, well, what's this date for? Once you export it and you just have date, it may be that it's date of the record was recorded, right? That just date doesn't tell me anything. And yeah, you have like your code book, but still you want to make this as easy for yourself as possible. Now you don't want your variable names huge, but think through. I tend to use the same kind of variable names for certain things I use all the time. Like for first name, it'll be first underscore name, last underscore name. And when you have to create reports or like you're actually creating these things using logic, it's better that you know that because you don't always have to pull up the code book. So here's all the things for reports. I'm not going to export that. I'll let you guys play with this, but there's other things. I never use these. I'm sure, I don't know if I have any of my biostats friends in here. They probably, okay, there we go, sorry. You know, they're going to pull like other stuff. I usually just do the CSV. And the other thing to kind of know about reports is the reports is a way for you to organize your information in a way that makes it easier for you. I organize it and then sometimes export it and then open it in Excel and do stuff in Excel because you can't do everything in REDCap and it's not expected that you can. So I tend to kind of do a number of things in Excel once I pull it out. Okay, so sorry, if we have identifiers in there, I don't have any identifiers, or I didn't mark anything as identifiers, you can kind of remove those from it as well. So, but you have to identify it. So in my, let's go back to my design, go into my thing here. All right, and so I have first name here, right? I have to go in here and then I have to mark that this is an identifier, right? So you have to have it identified there as an identifier in order for a couple of these things to work where it looks and kind of protects those identifiers. So when we go back and we do reports, now you notice now I have a tab down here for reports. And so I can just click on here and I go back to that report. You can also, what's nice is you can organize your reports just like you can organize your databases. And so we're going to add a new one, and this is going to be, you know, Brenda's books. Okay, so we're going to add that. And then, so you know, I'm going to put Brenda's books, but I only have one report in here now. So I'm going to check that. And then that now will go under mine. So if you have multiple team members, they have their own reports, you can put those reports under those. And so you can organize those and makes it a lot nicer and a lot easier to read. And you can, like, maybe you want to mothball some of your reports. You don't use them, but you don't really want to delete them. You can kind of create like an archive folder and archive those reports. So maybe you want to look at those later. And so that's where you would create that as well. So, okay, let's see. We're going to go to go back to my projects. We'll go to this one. So this one, as you can see, when I'm going to go back so you can see, this report has 2,700 records in it. Okay, so we've been kind of doing this for a while. This is, just so you know what this is like an administrative type of database that we use. My RAs will figure out, like, for a day what they're doing, like how much time did I spend on paperwork? How much time did I spend on this particular study? How much time did I put on another study? Things like that. And so that's where they're kind of working through that. And so as you can see, if you go down to our reports, here's all the reports, right? And so here's our folders that kind of have these things kind of created. So I have this report, the Cynthia report. You go in here. Cynthia, you don't mind, do you? So basically, I don't know if you guys knew this, but you can actually create, like, especially if you are creating reports for, or creating something administrative for your team, you can actually put in the record, like the username, so that you can kind of identify who the person is. So I'm just want to show, if you guys are interested, I'm just going to show this real quick. Probably have to go, cancel. All right. So if we go in here, we created this, it says RA username, right? That's what we just called it. And then we put in down here, tag @username, right? So now anybody who has access to that can just, their username kind of pulls up. They type their username in there and it shows up. So that's how we identify. So the reason why we did that was so that every time a new team member got added, we didn't have to go in and add the team member, right? So now they're just putting their username, they're added in the database. We don't have to remember this other thing. So that's why we did it that way. Just something kind of cool that you might like or might not like. I don't know, but you know, test it out. It's kind of cool. All right, so back to Cynthia's report. We don't really have a description here. Like I said, we can, you know, create who can view it. Maybe we just want Cynthia and myself. All right, so that's how we're creating custom and who can edit it. And maybe it's just, yeah, just me can edit it. So that's what Cynthia minds, but okay. So, and then we have our combined checkbox option there. As you can see, we have it sorted. So it uses her username. This is the date. So I have it like by a date range here. So we can change that. And we can say, we want to make this for April 2024. And it didn't change. Wait a minute here. Helps if I do it right. April. And now we're sorting for this past month. This will tell you, just so you know, that live filters, it's not everything, it's only certain fields that you can use. So maybe we want like location as our thing. And this is where I was telling you where you can change, you know, how you want it. And we want to do it by date. And okay, so now here's our report. Our location is up here. I can now pick from one of the locations. And so we're going to pick Goodman Hall, which is all the way at the bottom, of course. And now I can filter by Goodman Hall. So you can see how like that live filter helps, right? I might just want to look for one particular area. And so that's how it kind of works together. And then for project notes, you know, like these are like, so just so you know, like these are the other fields. This is a calculated field that we put in here. So it actually calculates the time by the end. So, all right. That's all I'm going to kind of talk about a little bit. Are there questions about creating reports, exporting them, anything? Have fun?
Hang on one second.
Oh,
I'm coming. If people on chat or in Zoom have questions, please throw those in the chat or unmute yourself, but we have a question in the room.
You made a comment about just copy my report, don't edit my report. If you don't have edit rights to the report, how do you copy a report?
yeah. Well, I mean, like if I haven't changed it, I should say, if I haven't already marked it that you can't have access to it, then that's just basically something for you guys to think about. If you have access to people's reports and you want to edit the report to make it better for you, don't just copy it and then change it for yourself. But the good point. Yes, you can't change it if I've already marked it. You can't get to it. You won't be able to get to it. But if you have access to people's reports, don't change their reports, create a copy for yourself, rename it for yourself. So that person doesn't go in and change yours and then set yours up so people can't change it. Yes.
Hi,
Hi.
could you do the live filter feature again?
Which filter? Oh, yeah.
The live filter,
filter?
just,
Yeah, of
sorry,
course.
I was like, whoa.
Yeah,
change.
okay. You want me to go back to like here?
Yes. Yes, please.
Okay, perfect. All right, so the live filter down here, and you can choose more than one. We can pick, so I picked location. We could pick, I'm trying to think what would be interesting, maybe. We'll just pick mode of work. That's like one of the other ones. So you can have like up to 3. They'll let you pick up to 3. Like I said, it can only be like if you have drop down, you can't use text in there. It has to be like where there's this choice that somebody has to make. And so you just kind of click that, you hit save report so that you can view it. And then now both of them are up here. And so you can just pick one of them. Like, so in person, here's all of the in-person ones. They just all happen to be a good bit haul. But we could have like, if we said cancer center, then nothing returned.
Gotcha.
So does that help? Does that
It
make
does,
sense?
thank you.
Yeah, where this is really good, like, I'm always like monitoring, like the demographics of folks. And so if, you know, ethnicity and race are 2 separate fields and I want to kind of look at both of those, that might be where I would have those up there, or I would have location, or I'd have telephone, you know, things like that. So those are things that, that you can kind of do in there that makes it, easier. There was one other thing I was like, oh, wait a minute, that you spurred me and then I forgot it already. So I'll have to, if I remember it, I'll come back to it. One thing that I thought you guys would find interesting, so this is to kind of go to dashboards, a little bit, because since we are going to run out of time. Is there any other questions before I move on to dashboards? No, okay. So if you guys are already familiar, right, there's this record status dashboard over here. And if you've ever used them, especially like this, where it has 2,700 fields in it, right? It's long. Now you can kind of like pick the one you want. You can go over here and add and edit where you can find the fields you want. Like if you wanted to kind of do that to search. And if you do that, just so you guys know, I don't change this. I just start typing. And that like, so like, then it'll kind of pull up all those records. I'd have to know what record it is, but like you could kind of do that and search. This is good. Like if you're looking for an MRN, like you use MRN as one of your things and you have a callback, or telephone number. Sometimes people call you back if you guys do any phone screening and somebody calls you back because you left them a message and you're like, all they gave you was, hey, this is Tom, you called me, my phone number is blah, 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 or you hope they left that. You could search by phone number like through here to find people. But all right, so to go back to record, this isn't really useful, right? Like, I don't know what these are just the record IDs. And so each ID is created after each one. If you go into project setup and you go into additional customizations, you can click on here to set a custom record label. And you can have more than one thing here. And now I got to remember what our code was here. If anybody wants to see. All right, wait a minute. If you guys didn't know this, you go up to your code book. This tells you what all your codes are. So it's RA_username is what we're going to use. Okay, so go back to project setup. We're going to go to our additional customizations. All right. Oop. And then I hit save. And now I go over to my record status dashboard. And now I have my RA's user IDs over here. So I know which record is associated with each person. So you can do that with, like, say you have a study ID and you know everything by study ID. That way you can easily find them over there, or as you're looking through them. This is kind of nice if you have a bunch of people on your project and like you want to look at for your particular ones. But I'm going to show you another thing. So this is the default dashboard, right? And now we're going to create a custom dashboard. And so this is going to be Cynthia's dashboard. Cynthia did not know that she was going to be the topic today, right? Right, Cynthia? Okay. Description, it's just like list of Cynthia's records. Okay. We're just going to do it horizontal. So select instruments. We only have one instrument in here, so that makes it easy, but you can pick more than one instrument, or you can pick just one instrument. So that's going to be that. And then this is where it comes into your thing, and we want to say RA underscore username equals, okay, let's see, Cynthia, I got to remember your Sid Johns. Okay. And update. Let's see if we did it right. Okay. And we're going to sort this by date. So then you can tell it. And we're going to set it by descending order so that the top date, like the last record, goes in first. All right. Let's see if we did it right. All right. So now I just have Cynthia's records in here. And then it starts by the last record that was entered in there. And so we can kind of do that. So now Cynthia has her own dashboard. So when I log in now, though, Cynthia's dashboard will be the one that comes up first. And so if you want to change it back to the default, you can do that. So you can have multiple dashboards in there. If you want a dashboard looking at one particular instrument or things like that, you can kind of create that. Just like anything that you're kind of creating in your reports, you basically just can use the coding to kind of create those. So just something a little cool that I thought you guys would like. You could put this as phone number if that's what you're sort of like, anything that you want. I mean, we can add in here. I'm just gonna do this real quick because I can change it later. If Cynthia doesn't like this, but we can put another space and then I can put date, right? I told you not to use just date and I have just date in there, but you know,
Hey,
do what
Brenda,
I
we have a
say.
quick question in chat.
Yep, go
So
ahead.
the dashboard that you're looking at, are there permissions or rights that you need to set, or are the dashboard visible to all users?
Okay, that is a great question. I know, did Andy leave me? I want to say they're available to all users. I might be wrong. Andy, do you know? Is Andy in here? Or did he leave me? What's that? Okay, there you go. Yes, you can limit it.
Can you
Oh,
repeat
yeah.
that?
So, yeah, you can limit your data dashboards based on your access that you provide to people. Yeah, in your data access groups. Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, you have your data access groups, which I didn't talk about today, but you know, look that one up. That one's good too. Okay, so I just wanted to talk about that real quick because I wanted to show you as we're running quickly out of time. This thing called project dashboards. And so I'm going to go to another project because I did this back for the classic book one. All right, so what are project dashboards? Project dashboards are a way to kind of look at your data. You can create a report. This is kind of, I think, good for leadership. And so let's look at, these are the two that I've created, and I'll show you how I did it. Like this just shows you like how many people completed the survey and, you know, what are they, where do they fall as far as their readership? Now, the interesting thing about this is we can edit this. I have this as a bar chart. We can change this to a pie chart. There's kind of examples down here that you can use as well, but I'm going to show you how to do this real quick. So view dashboard. So now we have a beautiful little pie chart. Now, what you do is the wizard, you can kind of type this out if you know all the key like ways to type this. That's why they have these examples down here. But what I like is that they have this wizard here. And so it helps you create what you're looking for. So we have that pie chart, you know, we can do the aggregate. What if I just want a stats table? The stats table really just kind of says like, this is from a biostats perspective, how many things were completed, how many are missing values, things like that. We're just going to kind of do that. And it doesn't put it in there. You have to copy to the clipboard, close it, and then you paste it. And so this is, you know, we're just going to put that in. Save dashboard, view dashboard. And now I can see how many missing values, how many unique things of that nature. So And you could do this for any of the fields, right? This is just the record ID that I put in there. If I had a number field where we are calculating BMI, this would kind of give this, what's our minimum BMI, what's our maximum BMI, and what's our mean. I don't have anything really to kind of demonstrate that. Play around with this. This is great. This is kind of a newer feature. And then you can actually make this table like live so people can see it. You can probably provide it to your leadership. And so again, you can export as a PDF like most of this stuff, but it's great kind of ways to kind of do a summary. If you just want people real time, like someone like me, if my RAs wanted to create something and they're like, I just want to see like, how many have you done? Where are we at as number of surveys that are done? What's the demographics look like? That's always what I'm looking at. How many are completed? How many have like come in for their next visit, stuff like that. You can put all of that here and then have that summary table. What I forgot to kind of show you real quick in our reports is that Brenda's books, is that you can kind of look at the stats and charts of all of your stuff as well here. Like it gives you like this, right? You can kind of look and see what people picked. It gives you numbers, but you can kind of have a visual representation of your data right in when you create your report. So be sure to kind of play around with that as well. You can even select a record if I wanted to pick like just whoever record 4 was, and it'll tells me where they show up. So everything that's orange is that particular user. So it's something real cool to kind of know about. Okay, I told you, I promised I'd show you how to kind of, I showed you how to kind of create, we're going to do it again real quick. We're going to create a new dashboard. This is like a test dashboard. And then, like I said, you could put any description here. So like, I'll show you what I did for the last one, like number of users. And then we use the wizard. And then here's your drop downs, right? Aggregate count. We're just going to count the record ID. We're not going to filter. You can filter it, copy, close. Okay. Save dashboard, view dashboard. And that's how you have that. So, yes.
I've seen dashboards that had the record ID, but then they have whatever thing you've typed in, for example, the name or something. It'll be color coded depending on some status like completion or not. Can you show us that?
Yeah, so this
Thank
is
you.
so there's 2 things. One's a project dashboard, which is really a summary, just so you guys know, it's summary statistics. And then, because that is kind of confusing. And then they have these dashboards that are really like, I would call it a record dashboard. And that kind of shows you like, let me find one that has like more than one thing in it. Let's see. Yeah. All right. So this is, you're thinking of something like this, where it'll show you like what records were completed, what records weren't completed, like that. So what this does is like, if you have multiple records in there, it will show you each one that was done. And so the check means that the person, it's a survey, you send it out and they completed it. And so you get the check.
They can't hear you online.
Previously, you showed us that you could type in, for example, the username.
Yeah.
It'll show the username in a different color depending on the status. Is that something that you know of?
I don't know if you can kind of change the username. I mean, like you could put in the dashboard, you can create a custom dashboard and you can filter it. And so you can say, yes, I only want those that are like let's say we want yellow, right? Or red. You could say that not completed. So you could create a dashboard that says not completed. And then you could have where I showed you how to add the custom like RA name, you could have their name there next to there and then create that dashboard to filter only to show those ones where it wasn't completed. You can do that. And I've done that before where like, I only want to see the ones that are completed. I don't care about any that aren't completed, or I only want to see the ones that aren't completed. because we want to kind of call those people back or things like that. So in that custom, when you're creating that custom dashboard, let's go back, let's like do our modify. So your filter logic right here. So I created this custom one here. I don't have any that aren't not complete, but like we could put in here, and, you know, so we could put like, and like one of the surveys isn't complete, right? And that will then show that will kind of change that report for you. Does that make sense? This is where you would put it. It's kind of like your, when you're kind of doing your logic in your, creating your survey and you want your question to go to another question, same kind of thing where you can add layers to it. This is where you would add it. So it would be in this logic editor. You'd put an or you can put an and so you would just add that to that. So I want this dashboard to be everybody who didn't complete survey number 2. And so that would be like survey, whatever you called it, survey number 2 equals 0, right? Because it's 0, 1, and 2, because 2 is complete. 1 is like the yellow. I can't remember what yellow stands for, but 0 is the red. That's how you would add that in there. Does that make sense? So that's how you can do it. Now to have the name, you would just have to put it like I showed you to put the name. I don't think you can put it so that it shows up in there, but I could be wrong. I am like not the expert at creating these, only that like, here's some things that you may know. So, okay, real quick.
If that didn't exactly answer your question, REDCap hours is a great place, and
Oh,
Alexander
yes.
might be able to help you with that as well.
Thank you, Robert. I
Sure.
appreciate
You have
that.
about 5 minutes left, Brenda.
Okay, good. I'm going to show you notifications real quick, because this is like a relatively newer, I don't know, maybe it's been around longer and I just finally just found it. And I just think it's amazing. So, all right, so we're going to go back to, I think I was in the one that I needed to be in. Yeah, all right. So there's this thing now called alerts and notifications. They've been around, but things have kind of updated in it. And basically what's nice about this is I use, like I said, a lot of stuff for administrative kind of things. And sometimes like we have stuff where people are like, you got to get this paper signed and you send it to this person, then they have to sign it, right, electronically, and then they send it back. And like, how would you know about this? Well, of course, you have the signature now in REDCap. So you can create this whole form in REDCap. And then you can say, hey, when this signature is obtained and this is complete, send me a notification so that I know that it's complete. So you can do that in the survey part too, but sometimes you don't want it in the survey part because I'm not part of the survey. I might just be the administrator and I want to know that something's sitting out there waiting for somebody to finish it so I can kind of keep track of it. That's where these alerts kind of come in. And so like I have set up in here, you know, when the request form is saved and has a complete status, send Brenda this email that says, hey, this authentication form was completed. And then it tells me the record ID, first name and last name. Now, if you're doing stuff with participants, you wouldn't want to necessarily put like names in there in that record, right? So you would probably put something like record number, you know, 54, right? You just put the record number and it would add the record number in there. 54 is complete. It is now needs to be validated or something. So you might have some processes in there that you want whoever is the next person in the line to kind of do that. So what this looks like is, you know, you can kind of figure out the logic. You can, you know, title this alert, but like, is it, when is the record is saved on a specific form? If a conditional logic is true, when conditional logic is true during a data import or whatever. So you can pick one of these. I kind of like usually like to do when the record's saved, but I usually add the conditional logic in there, right? And the reason why is like, if you ever had where somebody didn't complete the survey, like, and what I mean by that is they did everything, but they didn't like complete it, then like you wouldn't get that record to kind of be known. And so sometimes you could put in here, I don't want it just that when it's saved, I want it that like when either it's a 1 or a 2, I want it to come to me. And so you can put that conditional logic in there. You can kind of set when you want that to come. You can say how many times you want it to come, which is great. Like, let's say I have this form that I need my PI to sign and maybe they're not great at signing things because they forget. and you want to remind them, you can kind of set this up to remind them a couple of times. And then when it expires, which is kind of nice too, because maybe after a certain time. And then you could put the record, what that kind of comes through as, what it says, just like anything else. Here, this is why I have record ID, first name, last name. Now, this is because this isn't for something that's participant stuff. So that's why I have first name, last name. This is like where we're helping someone.
So online, they missed the way to go to notifications and alerts.
Sure.
So can you maybe?
Yeah,
back
real
up
quick.
back?
It's hidden in this nice little thing down here, but it's the second one. So where the little bell is, it's alerts and notifications. And so if you click on that, you can find it. You can add it. Now, sometimes I kind of create these and then I have somebody test it and I'm like, why didn't I get a notification, right? I should have got a notification. You can go and you're like, oh crap, I did that wrong. I know it's a surprise, right? Sometimes you do things wrong. And then if you hit reevaluate alerts, it'll kind of be like, hey, do you want us to look at these alerts in here and kind of reevaluate and send? And if you say, yep, it'll kind of send those alerts back to the person. So, which is kind of nice. And that's how you can test. And then you have this notification log, and this is where you can see which notifications. So here's all the ones that have gone out so far. And so that's how I can tell, like, if you're like not sure if they went out and you go to the notification log and you don't see any notifications in there, you're like, oh, I did something wrong. I need to test it or test it again or try to figure out what I did wrong. Sometimes the logic isn't right. And so you got to play with it a little bit. You can also do this real quick. And if you do the survey distribution tools, which I love as well, you can kind of look at your past surveys that you sent out as well. You can see in here whether you sent it to certain people or not. So just something to know, the reports components are really great in REDCap. There's a lot of stuff that you can do, and you can export these and, you know, do whatever you want with them, have fun with them. And then always know that your code book is up here if you ever need to kind of figure out what the codes are when you're writing those conditions in there. This is what you're going to use for your conditions. So I know I'm out of time. I rushed kind of through that, but hopefully there's lots of great videos out there. Just look for it, like notifications, play with it, create a database, have your friends try it. You know, that's how you kind of learn stuff. So any questions at the end that I can kind of answer or help, or hopefully people found this useful? Any final thoughts? Everybody's going to go home and try reports and kind of, great. It's great. It's great to use. You don't need everything to be in your report. Like you can kind of like just one last thing to show you. If you go to your report section, again, like, see, I'm always looking like, where is it? They have the all data view report, right? This is everything in it. And usually this is way more than you want. And sometimes you're like, well, I can just export it. And yeah, you can. And sometimes I do that. But sometimes it's like, I only want these key things, right? I don't need everybody's signatures. I just need the following things. So that's when you go back into your report. You create a report and you can kind of change it how you want. So, oh, and then just like, so another dashboard, I did this on, here's what like the role of people completing this form were, you know, were they students, were they other, you know, were they faculty, stuff like that. And so that's, again, how you can layer. So I can send that to, you know, my director and say, here's what, just so you know, here's the kinds of people that are filling out this form. So, well, thank you all for letting me talk with you. If you have questions, feel free to come up and I'll try to see what I can answer. If not, I'll find Andy, or you can go to REDCap Hours, which is actually the team is great. I love the team here. They answer all kinds of complicated questions, trust me, because I ask them all the time. So, but thank you all for letting me speak with you, and hopefully this was useful today.
Thank you, Brenda.